So our next lot of angle facts here are alternate angles, and the thing I noticed about alternate angles are they occur when we have two parallel lines. You can see them going from left to right, and we know that they're both parallel to each other because they both got the same little arrow at the end. So that tells us they're heading in the same direction and thus parallel. So we've got two parallel lines and there's one line cutting through both of them. So alternate angles occur when two parallel lines are intersected and it creates a Z shape. And we'll kind of emphasize that more in just a minute, but that's the kind of shape we're looking at. And so depending on where you look at, you can sometimes see them referred to as Z angles, okay, because that's the shape that they make. So we've got an angle up the top, and if we move that round without changing the angle at all, just shifted it down to the bottom, we can see that it fits there as well. And so we create this kind of Z shape that we can see in red, and the angles and the kind of insidey bits of my Z are the same. Okay, so in mathsy words, the alternate angles are equal. So having a look then at some examples where we try and find these things. So we've got two parallel lines, that's the first thing we're looking for, and we're trying to create that Z shape. So hopefully we can spot that there's a bit of a Z shape there, but the same thing stands true if the Z shape goes the other way. And so actually we can have a backward Z. Okay, but the angles in those parts are just as equal as the other ones. Okay, so they've still got parallel lines, still being intersected, and they're still in that little curvy bit of my Z. Okay, so again, another shape, two parallel lines. I'm looking for my first Z. So there's my Z, and I've got those two angles inside it are the same as each other. And then I'm looking for the other Z, so the backward Z. And those two angles are the same as each other. So how does that help us? Well, when we're trying to do this, we want to actually have to work out as few things as possible. So if there's anything we can just take from the information that's already there, then that's a big lifesaver. So I've got some lines here, two parallel lines, and a line cuts through them. So first thing I'm doing is I'm looking for my Z shape. And because I know that my alternate angles are equal, I know that that angle A is equal to 132. Those angles have to be the same size. Okay, what I've also got further down is I've got vertically opposite angles. If we have a look in the other video for vertically opposite angles, we can get more detailed reason. But when we're looking at these angles are the same. So angles opposite in this kind of X shape are equal. And so this angle B is also equal to 132. And so we were able to fill in two angles there without having to work anything out whatsoever. Okay, if we look at this one looks a little bit more complicated, there's a lot more lines on it, but again, we're still looking for the same thing. So we'll start with A, and we'll try and create our Z shape. So there are two parallel lines and a line cutting through them. And because we know that alternate angles are equal, I know that my angle up the top there for A must also be 68 degrees. If I look at B, if I look at the other side, I can create another Z shape. Again, I know that the alternate angles are equal, so if I know the angle down the bottom, then I can find the top one. Well, I've got a straight line down the bottom. Okay, so I've got 120 on the left, and so 120 plus what is 180 degrees, so that angle there is 60. Okay, again, have a look at our supplementary angles, and we can remind ourselves of how that works. But because I now know that one, I know the one at the top must also be 60. That just leaves me with the one in the kind of the top middle missing, angle C. And again, we're always very quick to forget about the triangle shape. And we've got a triangle, we know that all our angles add up to 180 degrees. And so 60 plus 68 plus this missing angle C should give me 180 when I'm trying to solve these. I'm going to tidy up my number bits as much as I can first. So 60 plus 68 is 128 plus C is equal to 180. Subtract my 128 from both sides, and that means I'm left with C must equal 52 degrees.